known to all.
Law of evidence encompasses a wide spectrum of subtopics, which lay down the barometer with which to gauge the admissibility of evidence before the honorable courts. In most cases, the knotty problems lies not in the ascertainment of the applicable laws, but in the correlation and proof of fact without which the right or reliefs of the plaintiff cannot be vindicated or obtained.
Law, as the name states, it is a set of rules with its own sanctions aimed at controlling or regulating behaviors of a society, whilst morality, which is also believed to be a guiding tool, is equally very crucial in maintaining order in any given society. GTTI as a training institution has long been providing training opportunities to many young people in the country, and training these budding lawyers in the making is of immense importance to the nation.
The Gambia Technical Training Institute was established by an Act of Parliament in 1980. The mandate of the institute is to provide training opportunities for the middle and sub-professional levels of the technical and vocational human resource requirements of the country.
Magistrate Fatou Jeng also cited some of the things that amount to a tortious act which most people tend to sit over.
The term tort means what? A collection of civil wrongs. This has actually emanated back in the English colonial days, in the English legal system. However, in our African settings, there is something that is actually disturbing. Our way of living, even at the neighborhood level, at family level. When something happens, you tend to say, let's leave it, and let's just compromise. Let's just talk about it at family level. Let us not allow the police to know about the event, or the scene of the car, or the accident, or whatsoever.
Other speakers included Principal Magistrate Dago and Abdullah Juf, who also gave words of wisdom to the young lawyers in the making, advising them to be much more focused and dedicated to their studies. This was the latest gathering that brought together law students across the country under one umbrella. As expected, they were encouraged to take their studies seriously in order to add up to the number of Gambian graduates in the field of law. Omunjai, GRTS.
The Turkey's ambassador to the Gambia, His Excellency Ergin Sona, has presented 10,000 copies of the Holy Quran to the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council for further distribution to mosques and Quranic memorization schools in the country. Grts Jallo has more on that development.
إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه. Speaking at the presentation ceremony, the President of the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council, Mamadou Lamine Touré, expressed delight at receiving these copies of the Holy Quran, which marked the first event following the inauguration of the new council executive. He prayed that the council be blessed with more support during their tenure, so as to extend their help to the needy as representatives of the Muslim Ummah. Imam Touré thanked the Turkish ambassador for the gesture, describing the donation as important and timely, looking at the increasing number of mosques and Quranic memorization schools in the country. Touré, on behalf of the council, thanked President Jammeh for the enabling environment that brought such cordial relationship with the outside world. For his part, the Turkish ambassador in the Gambia, Ergin Sona, said Muslims are brothers and the Islamic religion is a religion of peace and love means caring and sharing. Therefore, presenting these Holy Quran textbooks to their Muslim brothers and sisters in the Gambia is one of many projects that the Turkish government is supporting the Gambia and her people. He reassured that the embassy's doors are always open to the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council for support. The Turkish diplomat and the president of the Supreme Islamic Council both prayed for the cordial relationship between Banjul and Ankara to grow from strength to strength. Ambassador Ergin Sona took this opportunity to call on his Muslim brothers in the Gambia to pray for his country and the victims of the recent mine disaster in the Turkish town of Soma, in which more than 280 people died. Khadijatu Jallow, GRTS.
We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Welcome back. The African Development Bank has pledged to set up a special fund to finance Africa's massive infrastructure projects. The pledge was made in Rwanda as part of events marking 50 years since the ADB was established. The bank has over the years spent colossal sums of money in several African nations, as we hear in this report by CFI. The special fund is expected to boost emerging economies.
Rwanda has been hosting the annual African Development Bank meetings in its capital, Kigali, since Thursday. The event marks the institution's 50th anniversary. The African Development Bank says the economy is taking off. The bank announced an average growth of 5% due to global demand for primary resources, the emergence of a middle class of 400 million consumers, and a rush of foreign investors. Experts say emerging economies have played an important role.
The diversification of partners, the involvement of emerging economies like China, which is the #1 partner with Africa, if we consider that in 2009 the country surpassed the United States in terms of commercial quotas with Africa.
To finance development on the continent, the African Development Bank hopes to attract even more foreign investors. On Thursday, the bank announced the creation of a co-financing fund in cooperation with the People's Bank of China worth $2 billion over 10 years.
It is not at all alone. It is a sign of trust with the central bank to give us $2 billion to manage our resources.
Despite economic progress in Africa, there remains the issue of poor governance, and there needs to be more transparency and less corruption.
If the problem of corruption is not resolved, I don't think we'll get there. It's purely political. We have to go beyond the rhetoric. We have to put into practice what we promise.
The bank's main priority is financing infrastructure in the energy sector. Investment is needed in dams, wind and solar energy, road and rail transportation, as well as access to drinking water, sanitation, and information technology. These domains are considered essential for African economies to really take off.
Thailand's new military rulers have started asserting themselves at a time when the dust surrounding the martial law is yet to settle. However, some protesters are blaming themselves, having endured 6 months of protests. Details in this report by CFI.
Anti-government protesters in Thailand are packing up their camps following the announcement on Thursday by Army Chief General Prayut Chan-o-cha that the army had staged a coup d'etat. After nearly 7 months of political upheaval in which 28 people died, the military declared martial law, shutting down television stations, imposing a curfew, and prohibiting all demonstrations. While the Thai opposition believes the coup was necessary to oust Yingluck Shinawatra and her government, there is no guarantee that it will usher in the changes they have been fighting for. I'm very disappointed because we spent more than 6 months protesting, and the people have gained nothing. Now that the army has taken over, people like us will never be heard.
If the army answers our demands and goes ahead with the reforms, then okay. But if it doesn't, then I'll come back.
On Friday, the military summoned nearly 100 political leaders from the former government and the opposition. Among them, former Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra, who was removed from office by the Thai court earlier this month. Ms. Shinawatra, the sister of Thaksin Shinawatra, is one of 100